So, today we're looking at something very special. It's in this box, but before I do, I'm going to roll over there. Now, you've all heard me talk about the HUMNO, because HUMNO is a fun word to say, but also difficult. Now, we all have these situations where there's happening somewhere, and we don't know how to frickin' fix it. And I used the HUMNO in many situations, as you can see in my HUMNO video. It's a simple passive tool, plug in, plug out, pretty much put it in the middle of your chain. And in a lot of situations, it will kill the hum. But only in certain situations, because hum can be caused by insert reason here, which I don't know. Ground loops, other things, bad cables running over power line. I don't know. I play guitar. What the fuck do I know? So this fixes, it doesn't cause, it fixes a certain type of hum, and it does it beautifully. Now, these are relatively affordable in the US, and the prices in Germany skyrocketed. And then I talked to Morley before last year's Gear Street, and I said, what's going on there? I need more of these, and they're like $259 now, which is almost like I can't recommend this for that price, because it's a simple tool. Who's going to spend $256 on that? And then they said, oh, that shouldn't be. And we started talking and trying to fix this situation. And they said we also have something else coming out. We had I think it's called the HUMX or something in the States for a long time, and they wanted to bring it to Europe. It requires a different engineering and all that stuff, and we have the problem here of all the different outlets. Now, then they said, what should we call it? The Hum Killer. I'm like, this is all very overstated. I like simple names. I like Frank. So call it Frank, or call it, a name. And then we started talking. They said, well, make a suggestion. And we gave it a name. We called it HUMNO. I see that as a name, like Bruno. But it's HUMNO. I know it's dumb. But hey, they fell for it. And then we talked about packaging. And I said, well, it's a very simple product that doesn't have to be in a plastic thing. Plastic's bad. Turtles die and all that stuff. Why don't you do recycled cardboard? And they listened. That's blowing my mind. I'm spewing out some ideas, and all of a sudden they're like, that's a good idea. So yeah, it comes in recycled cardboard. But even more, the thing inside is made out of plastic, but then it's actually out of, I think, recycled or it can't be biodegradable, but it's a good kind of plastic. So it all turned out to be that Morley is now doing, good for the environment. Clean your sound, clean the world. It just happened to be a cool kind of a thing that happened. So, my name. I'm very, very proud of that. Thank you, Morley, for playing along. So, certain kinds of hum are caused by a thing being connected to another thing, and then you connect two other things to it, which are coming together here, and all of a sudden you have a loopy thing. I don't know. But that's why I need people like the Morley engineers to fix it. So if you have an amp and another amp, so you have a nice stereo setup, and you have an A-B switch, so one guitar through an A-B is running into two amps, and these two amps, of course, both have power. That causes a problem. There's, other bibs and bobs that you could have in the thing to filter out things, but when you have that problem, what are you going to do? Usually that hum is so damn loud that you will not be able to play the gig, or that people in the practice room freak out. Well, have one of these with you. This thing it should be $100. HUMNO. And the O lights up when it gets power. It's so cool. And the Morley guys were brilliant by not making this a wall wart kind of a thing that you then plug into, but by simply making it an extension cord for your already existing power cord. That makes it compatible with anything, anywhere in the world when it comes to the typical three-pronginess. So you have this situation with amps. you take one of them out, you don't need two, plug this into the power cord, extend it, just a power cord extension, and hum goes away. That's the theory. We're going to show you if that works or not in a second here. Well, since that works, I've tested it. This is the thing that you just have in your gig bag, because you end up at the gig and there's something happening. The keyboard thing causes hum in the Leslie speaker. You're going to go like, hey, Brian, because obviously the keyboard player's name is Brian, I got a HUMNO. You got that in gig bag, bam, gig is saved. The front of house guy has a problem with one of the speakers because your amp is causing some kind of loopiness, I don't know. All of a sudden, PA can't work. Well, plug this into one of the things, could be the mixer, could be the speaker, could be your amp, and all of a sudden you're taking that out, bam, it works. This is the lifesaver in the practice room, in the recording studio, in the live situation. This is the thing that you should just invest in, and you might not need it right now. And you're gonna say, why should I spend $100 on something I don't need? Well, you're gonna need it. And then you just grab it in your gig bag and you've got a HUMNO. This is the kind of no-brainer device that every musician should have. You could plug this into your audio interface and all of a sudden, I can continue recording into your tape delay and whatever. And you should also, not for the ridiculous German price that happened, but have a HUMNO. Because if this doesn't fix it, this will. And maybe in combination, you're able to get a very, very clear signal. So I will show you this in a sec, because I've done it. But first, let's do the amp test. Very simple. We have a guitar going into an ABY switch from Carl Martin. It's a good one. Going into both amps get power. And all of a sudden, we got a loopy thing happening. Then we'll plug in the HUMNO. Noise gone. I will demonstrate that right now. That alone should be reason to get this. Now let's go to a practice room situation. We're going to go to a stage. There's a lot of noise on the speakers there. So technically that hum is a massive hum in the subwoofer and terrible noise in the top speakers. And the Morley guy said, if there's a loopy thing happening, it should be because of the mixing board. Now, you plug this into the mixing board, it's taking that out of the equation with its magic that it's doing fairy dust, and then it should be fine. Well, that didn't do it. Plugging these into the tops, not into the subwoofers because they carry too much power, also didn't really work. But it also didn't really hurt it. So we use this, and whatever it was, probably cable or something, and we fixed it. So having this combination with you very likely gets you to play the gig, record the album, do whatever you need to do. So let me show you that situation. So we're here in the practice room of Holger Mösinger at the Kubacher Hof in Kubach, where the Gear Street YouTubers hang out and then jam at night. Now, there is a pretty massive hum problem that he has with his band, Stay Tuned, which I tried to fix, and I fixed quite a bit, but not all of it. I recently supplied them with a used mixer, so we're gonna look at that before we check out the HUMNO. Follow me. Leslie behind the camera. So we got a good old PreSonus 16.4.2, and the guys from Morley said if we wanted to get rid of the hum, we would need to break the chain. So the subs and the tops are connected to the mixer. If we get, and this is where it all kind of comes together. So if we take the mixer and fix it with the HUMNO, it should solve the problem. I tried that. It doesn't. So I'm thinking they're probably coming together at some kind of stage box or something, and maybe that's the problem. I don't know technical stuff. So I just, as I do, tried things. So taking the mixer out of the equation with the HUMNO did not fix it. Is this even the kind of hum that we can fix with the HUMNO? I don't care. I don't know. We'll try things. So follow me to the speaker and hear the beautiful sound that they've been practicing with for years. So you can very likely hear a pretty loud, annoying hum from the top. The bass, the sub is also doing something very nasty. Morley told me, do not plug it into something that requires a lot of wattage, amperage, big things, because it's not made for that. So technically at the source, which is the mixer, it should have worked, but it didn't. So we're gonna try putting it on the top. Look at the beautiful packaging. So all I'm doing is turning this off. This is still humming, but oh, now it's humming a lot more. I don't know why, but I'm plugging in the HUMNO. It's telling me that it's getting power. We'll plug this back in. Turn this back on. Apparently I made it worse, but there's also something about this cable which is very, very bad as soon as you touch that. In the HUMNO, in this case, it can't fix everything, it's not fixing it. I'm gonna try the HUMNO. So you just put that in the middle. And all that noise is gone. I don't understand why. So in this case, the HUMNO didn't do what it was supposed to do, but it didn't fix the problem that wasn't there, if you know what I mean. So you have to have a ground loop problem. In this case, it was actually really shitty cables, and cables running along power lines, shitty cables along this, and there's also something wrong with the outlet over there. We're gonna have to fix all of this here. Let's take it to the other speaker. And we're gonna do the same thing. I mean, why not just do it? We're gonna HUMNO the shit out of it, just in case. Justin's a nice guy, by the way. This is what happens when bands use pretty shitty cables. That didn't fix anything, but luckily, ELIMINATOR. So we don't have a ground problem here, we have a different kind of problem. Can you hear that? No, you can't. Because, I don't know if these did anything, but they did, something happened. Well, now, it's the tiny little bit of hiss that you would expect. And this that was in the room, when being in the room was uncomfortable. Well, I don't think the HUMNO did the fix here, because there wasn't a ground problem. Is it hurting it? No. So why not just use it when you have it? And then ELIMINATOR, and now we actually have the quietest setup in here that we've ever had. Way to go, Morley. Back to me. And thank you to Holger and Ines for letting us use your stage, which we're gonna get completely hum-free. We need to redo the power stuff. There's lights in the same thing as it's a horrible situation. The cables are so shit that when you wiggle them, they go. But they fixed it for now. We need to get it where we don't need these, but you know what? For now, this is saving it. So this is the winning combination to have with you to keep the show alive. To not stand in a room and have a practice where is going on. If you want to know what actually happens and how this is working, I assume Colin Scott will have a brilliant video on that because he's brilliant and he knows about electric-y things. I know nothing. I called it a loopy thing because I don't know what it actually is. That being said, watch his video. Some other people will show you similar videos. Watch them to make sure that it actually, works. Don't just take my word for it. This will solve certain kind of hums. Not all of them. If this doesn't work for you, then you have a different kind of hum. In that case, it's a good idea to have this. And in combination, very likely getting rid of your problem. You should still figure out what the problem is and then take them out of the equation so you have these available again. But this is really something every musician should have. Get yourself a HUMNO, put it in your gig bag, and don't worry about this stuff anymore. There are links below to a whole bunch of different places where you can buy the HUMNO. It's my name, and they printed it on the product. Thank you, Morley. You guys are beautiful. Thank you, Scott. This means a lot to me to hold this in my hand with my logo on it. Really means a lot. Thanks, guys. Links below, and as always, animals at the end.